It is Tuesday, the 11th of February, 2025, and so much news, so much getting out there, more discussions to prove that weather modification is real, and then it's been ongoing now for decades. And so I shared a little bit of that yesterday. I'm going to share more today because it's very important. But before actually concurrently to that, I'm going to share some of my social media feeds, talk a little bit about them. So this is from Bend Podcast. Good morning, X. My experience with Doge has been totally wild so far. I told you yesterday about the $600 million per year the Pentagon was spending on sushi. Well, I just found another wild one. The Air Force was spending $1,280 per paper coffee cup, like literally those ones you find in the office. $1,280. We also found that $230,000 per month was being spent on the IRS in Starbucks cinnamon roast K-Cups, but everyone was working from home. In fact, it's only been, I think this week, correct me if I'm wrong, that federal government employees are now mandated essentially to go back to work. And so through this time, how the heck are they spending that much money when they were working from home on coffee cups to begin with, and then with the Keurigs and other things? People need to start getting arrested. Oh my God! If this was like a private citizen, it'd be game over, jail, 1,000%. And these are public servants doing this, stealing our taxpayer money, because this is happening in Canada too. And I don't know if I shared the day before about Global Affairs Canada, millions of dollars to WEF. And again, there's more to it. What's happening in the US also happens in Canada. Oh, this is just a funny post about dog owners. I'm going to share this again about Elizabeth Warren. Oh, with sound. Oh, wait. Ah! Once again, it did that. I'm so sorry. Frig.
And never received any monies from any PACs. And then, of course, underneath it, Community Notes strikes again. And of course, she received millions.
Yeah.
She's a fucking liar.
Bernie Sanders, too. One of the biggest, the most donations and contributions.
Well, and it's an arms race. How can pharma cloak the money that it's giving so that there's plausible deniability at the point that Elizabeth Warren is confronted, or Bernie Sanders?
Bernie Sanders was hilarious.
He was the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right.
Oh, out of 200 million.
Only 1.5 million out of 200 million. Only 1.5.
Yep, that's what I saw as well.
Trying to say nothing. Only the hardworking people of this country giving money. Elizabeth Warren got confronted.
I was talking about this yesterday, but I want to reinforce. So U.S. diplomatic immunity for dual citizens. And please give me information if you have access to this, because I've been looking for official numbers or even general numbers for how many people are within the U.S. annually, or even any stats at any given time, essentially, people that have diplomatic immunity, especially dual citizens. The number of people in the U.S. with diplomatic immunity is not specified, but it includes accredited diplomats and their families from foreign countries. Yeah, accredited. Who's accrediting them? Diplomatic immunity, and Netanyahu should not have diplomatic immunity. Anyway, is granted based on their status as representatives of their home countries and is governed by international agreements such as the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. Dual citizens in the U.S. can have diplomatic immunity if they are accredited diplomats representing their home country. However, their diplomatic immunity applies only to their capacity as diplomats. What's your point? And does not extend to their dual citizenship status as U.S. citizens. For example, a U.S. citizen who is also a diplomat from another country and is accredited to the U.S. would have diplomatic immunity while performing official duties. So there you have it. I'm very interested to see how many people in Washington, D.C. especially, let's start there, how many dual citizens there, again, in the certain countries that they're claiming dual citizenship with, like Israel, and other countries. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had brokered the Libya deal. Forward this again and again until everyone reads this true story of Benghazi. So here's the real story. Ambassador Stevens was sent to Benghazi to secretly retrieve US-made Stinger missiles that the State Department had supplied to Ansar al-Sharia in Libya without congressional oversight or permission. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had brokered the Libya deal through Ambassador Stevens and a private arms dealer named Mark Turi. And they've also looked into Adnan Khashoggi as well, by the way, and there's others as well. But anyway, some of the shoulder-fired Stinger missiles ended up in Afghanistan, where they were used against our own military. On July 25th, 2012, a U.S. Chinook helicopter was downed by one of them, not destroyed only because the idiot Taliban didn't arm the missile. The helicopter didn't explode, but it had to land, and an ordnance team recovered the missile's serial number, which led back to a cache of Stinger missiles kept in Qatar by the CIA. Obama and Hillary were in full panic mode, so Ambassador Stevens was sent to Benghazi to retrieve the rest of the Stinger missiles. This was a do-or-die mission, which explains the stand-down orders given to multiple rescue teams during the siege of the U.S. Embassy. It was the State Department, not the CIA, that supplied the Stinger missiles to our sworn enemies, because General Petraeus at CIA would not approve supplying the deadly missiles. I doubt that. But anyways, because again, Petraeus, there are things that he has done and covered up that are criminal. And so spare me. But anyway, the deadly missiles due to their potential use against commercial aircraft. So then Obama threw General Petraeus under the bus when he refused to testify in support of Obama's phony claim of a spontaneous uprising caused by a YouTube video that insulted Muslims. Obama and Hillary committed treason. This is what the investigation is all about. Why she had a private server in order to delete the digital evidence, and why Obama, 2 weeks after the attack, told the UN that the attack was the result of a YouTube video, even though everyone knew it was not. Furthermore, the Taliban knew that the administration had aided and abetted the enemy without congressional oversight or permission. So they began pressuring, blackmailing the Obama administration to release 5 Taliban generals being held at Guantanamo. Bo Bergdahl was just a useful pawn used to cover the release of the Taliban generals. Everyone knew Bergdahl was a traitor, but Obama used Bergdahl's exchange for the 5 Taliban generals to cover that Obama was being coerced by the Taliban about the unauthorized Stinger deal. It's not even just that. They're working with the freaking Taliban. Like, oh my God. Even Katie and Dan, he has multiple companies in Afghanistan, and so do other people, private security and others that are there, and they're giving taxes to the Taliban. So there's some system of government there where and they're doing this again with the Taliban. Ridiculous. Yeah, so we have a traitor at POTUS that is not only corrupt but compromised, as well as a Secretary of State that is a serial liar who perjured herself multiple times at the congressional hearings on Benghazi. Perhaps this is why no military aircrafts were called upon to help Benghazi, because the administration knew that our enemies had Stinger missiles that, if used to down those planes, would likely be traced back to the CIA cache in Qatar and then to the State Department's illegitimate arms deal in Libya. And by the way, CIA has caches all over the world, and they are operating all over the world. So this was very interesting. Nothing new, but okay, I don't think I'm sharing anymore. On my Instagram, I do share the financials for USAID, for Big Pharma, and money that people like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren have received. And now I'm going to get into my... Yes, Odessa. I'm going to get to her, but I'm going to go to my profile.
Because that's the true tax. Every budget is balanced. Keep your eye on one thing and one thing only, how much government is spending. Because that's the true tax. Every budget is balanced. There is no such thing as an unbalanced federal budget. You're paying for it. If you're not paying for it in the form of explicit taxes, you're paying for it indirectly in the form of inflation or in the form of borrowing. Keep your eye on one thing and one thing only, how much.
$50 million worth of meth in your...
So this is Canada, one of the largest busts for fentanyl in history, recorded history in Canada.
18-wheeler truck and be put out. Only in Canada can you be caught with $50 million worth of meth in your 18-wheeler truck and be put out on bail. I am not.
What have I said about truck drivers and not having the proper credentials or certifications or doing things illegally because they don't have any care or concern about Canadians?
Not joking. Look at the amount of meth here. You got caught with this much meth. Omalpreet Sidhu, 29, was arrested on January 14th attempting to cross the Bosavane port of entry with 406.2 kilograms of what is believed to be methamphetamine inside of a commercial truck. The CBSA discovered the massive meth shipment wrapped in 200 packages, put into rolling suitcases, and stored in a single trailer bound for Winnipeg. Officials said that the amount is a prairie record for a narcotic seizure and one of the largest at a land entry in Canada. They said the amount represents about 4 million doses with an estimated street value of $50.7 million. Look at all of this meth. But here we go. He's out on bail.
Yeah, that could kill 10% of Canadians.
Our justice system is totally messed up. I can't imagine how many people these drugs have killed in our communities, our families, our children, and this guy is now allowed to walk out on bail. It is unbelievable, the people that we allow on our streets to continue to terrorize our communities, our families, and our children. This is madness. Somebody please tell me what is going on. I should not be worried about speeding tickets anymore. Here I am, driving it around, worried that I'm going 10 over, that I'm going to be put in jail. There is no going to jail in Canada. Crime is open for business in Canada. It is the #1 business of this Liberal and NDP government to support the massive amount.
They're just focusing their resources and law enforcement in the wrong areas. They're focusing them on lawfare, targeting people that are not liberal voter types. And so anything that we do, even that could be considered even a hate crime, if we're talking about the government or exposing people within government, they're we are the ones that are getting more targeted. We are the ones in the courts. Again, I've given you countless examples of people that I know that were in the courts and in jail. People that were that are heroes, charged, suspended, kicked out while pregnant, all of that stuff. Yet our borders are not secure, and people are actually dying because of the illegal arms that are getting transported over the borders, the humans that are getting transported back and forth over the fucking borders, and things like the drugs. Okay, so if they actually invested their resources, our resources, the taxpayers' resources, properly, these issues, again, it would not be as prevalent, not even close.
Amount of crime that's going through our borders.
And again, also managing immigration. Like I'm not saying this to sound racist. I'm saying I don't care about your race, religion, background. I don't care about any of that stuff. It's none of my business unless it's impacting me as a libertarian and my rights and my freedoms and my ethics and my morals and my values and that of Canadians. And then exploiting us again with the student visas and the foreign temporary workers and then coming here as part of organized crime rings or paid activists. You're not helping. These are not the people that are coming in here being the first responder types. They're not working for government to make a difference. They're not going to be firefighters or cops. And if they or CBSA, and if they are, we've seen clear examples where these organizations have been infiltrated by what I would consider to be traitors to the country, and that's treason, and these are criminals. And we're even China with that law enforcement precincts and stuff like that in Ontario, even, and in Vancouver, and then even within Islam, right? There are people here that because they're following Sharia law, they actually have their own, and they use mosques and stuff like that as well. But they're doing their own legal. They have their own legal systems, essentially, and they're doing it operating in Canada. And again, I don't support that. It's not because I don't like China or Chinese people or Muslims or people from Islam. Not at all. But again, there are things that you guys are doing in your countries that are making, again, look at your countries right now. It's a shit show. Canada, even as shitty as we are right now, because of people like Justin Trudeau and the people within cabinet and the experts they're hiring and the corporate lobbyists and corporate scientists and corporate medical staff, we are still way better off, right? And extreme friggin' poverty differences and censorship and pollution and waste and communism. Come on. And then even with age limits, or even with abuse cases and stuff like that, we're bringing in more, sexist values to women too. And then with less rights for children. And in Afghanistan, women cannot go to school or higher level learning. And Anyway.
borders. Thank you, Justin Trudeau. Thank you, Jagmeet Singh.
Oh, I backed out. I'm so fired up with this stuff. Julian Assange. I've been talking about philanthropy companies and charities and foundations and how this is like a lot of like money laundering. Donations to the Trudeau Foundation in thousands of dollars by fiscal year 2008 to 2016. And I would love to see the numbers now. Look at that. And he came into office again in 2015. And by the next year, very interesting. Yeah. So the Canadian government gave 22 million of our money to the World Economic Forum, and probably more. I honestly can't think of anything worse to waste our tax dollars on. Canada needs Doge now. So the World Economic Forum. Oh, Global Affairs Canada. This is what I wanted to share. Sharing money, our money. Like, why? World Economic Forum. Again, Global Affairs Canada, another 6 million, 1 million. World Economic Global Affairs Canada, 10 million. Yeah. Global Plastic Action Partnership. Very interesting. More Canadian news. Yeah, this could have been our deal. The Japanese and the Germans begged us to sell the LNG. Japan offered investment. The Trudeau Liberals, including all of those now around Mark Carney, said no. Canada is poor. The U.S. about to get richer. I've said, how many videos have I talked about this? And sure enough, we lost that, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. So Trump gives Japan LNG deal that Trudeau denied. From Josh Ryan. In his book, Values, Mark Carney says Western society is morally rotten, corrupted by capitalism, and responsible for climate emergency. Promises rigid controls on personal freedoms. Assets will be stranded. Used gasoline-powered cars will be unsaleable. Globalist musings. So in his book, Values, Building a Better World for All, Mark Carney, former governor both of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, claims that Western society is morally rotten and that it has been corrupted by capitalism. You see, these are the networks that they're operating in that are morally rotten at this point, like these Bohemian Grove, Bilderberg, Davos, fucking Epstein Island, Diddy lists, and on the other lists, and the resorts and the estates that they have these fucking weird parties at, and rituals and ceremonies and orgies. Even, I'm not saying he's involved in all of that stuff, but he's involved in WEF and Bilderberg and Davos, obviously, and heads of the banking institutions. And these people are very much involved in the arms trafficking, the drug trafficking, the human trafficking, and doing awful things to people within humanity. With the weather modification, geoengineering, that like creating natural and man-made disasters, impacting people's lives, and then not properly helping them out with their own taxpayers' dollars. Instead, they're stealing it. And again, like even what's going on in Ukraine, there are people working in government, in Ukrainian government, that are traveling all over the world, going to resorts, going to like on cruises, going to like the top of the line, like most expensive places that you could go for their vacations, and it's on our dime, right? And so the money's not going to the people on the ground. And again, like this is, I won't get too much into that, but anyway, yeah. So these people are the ones that are more morally corrupt. The people like Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney, morally corrupt. Melanie Jolie, so many others. Karina Gold, Mark Mills, Marco Mendicino, David Lemeni, Omar Alghabra, Teresa Tam. Like these people destroyed lives, whether they realized to what impact it would be or not. And again, they got money directly from the people that also profited off of harming us. Rigid controls on personal freedom. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, we are humans. You are a human. You are not better than us. And so we have a fundamental right to freedom. We have a charter of rights and freedoms.
The current government. Hi, my name is Jason Bartlett, and I'm a white South African. I currently live in the United States, and I came here illegally in 2019, and I pleaded for asylum. Now you ask yourself, why on earth would a white South African plead for asylum? Well, I'll give you a few reasons. South Africa is the rape capital of the world. It is one of the most crime-ridden countries in the world. It is the current government systematically goes out and murders the white farmers. The very people that feed them are being tortured and brutally slaughtered
And this has been for
on
years.
a daily basis. The rape capital of the world,
I've had it where they chanted, kill the white Boer.
the infant rape capital of the world. Now, you go onto social media and you, of course, just like America, we've got screaming liberals that have got a woke mind virus. And they will tell you that everything's honky-dory in South Africa. But they don't tell you that those are the multimillionaires who live in estates behind 10-foot fences that are electrified and paid security guards to monitor those areas for 24 hours. Just other side those fences, people can't stop at a stop sign after 7 o'clock at night. People can't go for a walk at 7 o'clock at night. A couple of men can go, but you know what? How about the women? They can't go anywhere when the sun sets. You can consider them raped, you can consider them abused, and you can consider them kidnapped. What happens in South Africa is pure evil. Now, I came to America, I came here legally.
I've been to South Africa.
And I came and I established myself. And as a true South African, like Joe Rogan says, America needs more are not losers. And I'm not a loser. I came over here with a few $100s and a suitcase, and I've developed a career for myself. I'm now a superintendent of a golf course. I pay a lot of tax. I support the government. I support the American flag, and I support the American people. I also became a qualified pilot. I am in charge of a farmer's market, as well as I now run a 150-acre farm of my own, where I raise cattle and sheep, all grass-fed and all for the American people, because that's in my blood. That's what I do. And what the most detrimental part to my soul is the fact that people can stand up and say everything's okay in South Africa. Because that is my reality. I came here because I've been through some traumatic experiences, including myself and my wife. We've lost family members. We've lost people that we love. And the day-to-day basis of crime and atrocities that are happening in South Africa is something that we don't want to live with. We wanted to come to America, live the American dream, and by the grace of God, we have achieved that. And we're getting stronger and better. However, since 1652, white people have been in South Africa. They've bought their land and they've acquired their land legally. And now Cyril Ramaphosa, which is our pagan ANC leader, has signed into law expropriation of land without compensation. So if you're white, they can come up to you and tell you, hey, we want that land and we're going to take it and we're going to pillage it and we're going to rape the earth and we're not going to create food for anybody and you can't say anything about it. Zimbabwe 2.0. How did that work out? So this over here is just a video for you to understand that those white South Africans and white South African farmers are entitled to their land. They're entitled to what they have. They do not have to leave that country. They do not have to be forced to leave that country. So the wonderful country of the United States is always willing to help. They're always willing to help, always signing checks to places like Ukraine, places like Gaza, everything like that. The people that hate America get so much support. How about you take a look at a petition that my friend Willem Petzer and TV Wessels have put together, and they're going to go to the embassy.
Gaza, but Israel is like top of the list. And then like Ukraine. And again, there's so many other countries where they, even with the DEI stuff that Doge is coming out with.
This month, and they're going to hand it over, and you're going to see the hundreds of thousands of white farmers that support Donald Trump. We're not asking for handouts, but we are asking for intervention so people can rightfully keep their property, because no one's going to invest in a country that has expropriation without compensation. Nobody in their right minds would do that. So this is a message to Donald Trump. President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, people like Joe Rogan need to share this far and wide, because you know why? That is illegal what they've done. It is unethical and it is incorrect. So how about we help the good people for a change?
It's just so interesting. Yeah, so again, the largest fentanyl lab in the history of the world busted in Vancouver. Chinese organized crime, possibly Iran. Liberals won't release data and information. 100 million doses shipped south to Northwest US on ships through our ports that have no law enforcement. Yeah, our borders are really secure, for fuck's sakes. Again, not to go back to that, but I have repeatedly said as well that a large majority of the shipments that are coming in, especially via the ports, are not even controlled by our own government, right? And oh my goodness.
That we should be focusing on, the fact that it's a small amount. One of the things that we have pointed to a lot over the past couple.
So 100 million doses, right? 40 million Canadians approximately. I mean, I'm using that term loosely right now.
Of weeks when responding to the president is the amount of fentanyl that crosses from Canada to the U.S., which is, as you know, very small. It was 43 pounds was seized at that border. But I understand you think that is not sort of something that we should be focusing on, the fact that it's a small amount, particularly compared to Mexico. Give me your thoughts.
43 pounds is not a small amount.
Several months ago, you had the biggest lab in the history of the world.
Yep.
Taken over by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Vancouver. I mean, we'd never even seen anything like this. It made Breaking Bad look like, minor league. So that, and definitely where there was Chinese organized crime, possibly Iran as well. The facts have not been released by your government. It's sort of astonishing that they haven't provided more information publicly, but I think they know they're sitting on a big scandal here. The fact that this thing emerged and it's tied into these biker gangs who've been hired to go down to the United States in some cases and assassinate people like, my former boss, Secretary Mike Pompeo, President Trump, and others. This is another whole level of scandal involving it. But the key thing to focus on is that someone was making over 100 million doses of deadly fentanyl in a lab that you didn't know about right under your nose. Now, how many other labs do you think you have going? And let me folks, one last thing. There's very little border enforcement. So 42 kilograms, it's a nonsensical number. We don't have, most of the drugs are going from Mexico to Canada and then being brought south into the Northwest United States on ships. You have almost no port enforcement with police. So we have no idea, except from our sources, what's going on. And we hear some bad things.
I will say, I mean, they did find the super lab. I mean, I take your point. It was under their nose, but there was police work done in order to find it, uncover it, and charge the people responsible. So that is a positive piece. I take your point, though, that there could be more. And so tell me what more you think needs to be done to deal with some of the things you're talking about, as well as the czar. They've increased surveillance at the border. They are going to crack down on Mexican cartels. I talked to the RCMP commissioner about that. And there is more shared intelligence that's going to happen between Canada and the U.S. What else would be helpful in this instance then?
Let me first stress the RCMP is an excellent organization. Okay, you got very good police in your country. Yeah. Okay, you got great CSIS, your intelligence organization is first rate as well. Your problem is
if the recommendations were to declare the Emergency Act or talk about there's these alleged right-wing terrorist organizations, they got a lot of things wrong. COVID. Yeah.
Laws.
But I also hear that this was something that at the top people were trying to, like people within CSIS were trying to whistleblow and expose and insist that the truth be pushed and shut down. And so I've shared a couple of CSIS whistleblowers, even a guy that had a couple decades in, that was talking about the level of corruption and not looking at the data that was being provided.
It's the Stinchcomb law, which I'm not, like the world's expert on, but basically every time we try to go up on a phone number in Canada, and almost all the money laundering networks tied to China, which is about 90% of all money laundering in the United States, is tied to Canada. Okay, so when we try to go up on those numbers with your police, they have to inform the person that we're targeting their number. That's crazy. How can we run an undercover police operation with your country? Which is why we don't run them, which is why the seizure statistics are so low, because we don't even try to work with Canada because your laws are abbreviated and distorted And I think this is an issue that goes back in Canadian history a long time. You need to update your legal structures. And if you do, and create a Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, like we have in the United States,
Yeah, we need RICO.
and designate them as terrorists, which you're going to do, I think we'll solve a lot of these problems. I think terrorists will come off, and we'll be in an excellent position to be partners to stop this stuff from terrorizing our country. I mean, our countries are getting killed by fentanyl. We got to protect ourselves.
So I just want to end on this. You just said if we do these things, the tariffs won't. Well, they're not on, but they won't go on. I mean, do you believe that this is about fentanyl for the president, or that it's about other things? This is just one of the pieces that he is using as leverage here.
Well, I take him literally, and I think literally he says it's about fentanyl, and I think it is. I mean, we're losing 80 to 100,000 people in North America between U.S. and Canada. We got to stop this nonsense. We got to target these Mexican cartels. We need to focus on their money. So the key thing is
Mexico,
to target the
it's
banks
China,
that are behind
it's
it.
India,
Of course,
it's Pakistan.
you've got a sort of tragic situation where TD Bank was laundering billions of dollars for Mexican cartels, and now it's being hit with one of the largest fines, literally, in the history of money laundering. So, it's not blame Canada for me. I love Canada. Canada's a great country. We need to work together. We've got our own problems with our banks laundering money too, in the United States. So we gotta break the bank on fentanyl trafficking for these cartels and bring them down and take them out.
Okay, David Asher, thank you for your time this morning. I appreciate it.
That was good. Yeah. Oh, we can't see it. It's loading. Let's see what else I posted.
One of the things that we have pointed to a lot of.
Okay. Now, sort of saving not the best for last, but one of the more longer videos, if I can find it. Yeah, crazy what's going on.
Really
in the world right now.
Here that we get this in.
Okay, so this is I finally confront the pilots who have been geoengineering Tulum's skies. Again, this woman is so brave. LibertyTalkCanada.ca.
Information out. A Hero has a video of her confronting a pilot about what they've been dumping all over her and her family and her neighborhood. This pilot does not even deny it. This video needs to go viral. They're not denying that they're dumping certain
I did share a clip of this video, but I wanted to share the full thing.
chemicals all over us. And this woman is a hero. Yep. And I suggest you all follow her Substack, which is mellowcat.substack.com, mellowkat.substack.com. I'm going to quickly show you this short video where she has this guy recorded. He doesn't know he's being recorded, where he doesn't deny at all what they're dumping. And then I'm going to show you what she has to say in her Substack with all the proof of the chemicals that she has collected. This woman's a hero. Quick message from my sponsor. We'll get right to the show. Arms of Love mission by Limitless Ministries is supported by a Canadian Christian woman. Originally from Kyrgyzstan, their Women's Crisis Center helps vulnerable mothers and children escape trafficking, abuse, and poverty, and teaches them skills to enter the workforce. Consider donating to this excellent mission. armsoflovekg.com. All right, here's the video.
So this is the Modesto Jet Center, okay?
Hi. Yes. Great. Thank you.
Good. What can I do
Good
for
to see you. I'm here. You're Tim, right?
No.
Oh, no.
No. I don't know a Tim.
Jody?
No, don't know. Well, I know a Jody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jody Fisher?
No, yeah, I know Jody Fisher.
You do? Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then who are you?
I'm one of the other captains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So come on outside. We're not. We're just whatever. Are you free? No?
No, I gotta reflare.
Okay, so I have paperwork for you that I want to give to you. So hang tight, I'll go get it. But then we've been trying to reach Jody and you for a long time.
Okay.
And we are tired of you dumping heavy metals all over our county.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not the one to talk to about that.
No, but you are. But you're the one
You're
that's
the one doing it.
So I've been taking rain samples. I have over 20 samples. And every time you fly, we get high amounts of aluminum, barium, strontium, titanium, magnesium. So I want to know, are you aware of what you're doing? I know you think it's like to increase water supply for Turlock and Modesto, but it's not really happening.
Yeah, you can talk to
I've
them
tried.
about that.
I've
So-
called them and they're not calling me back. So we're now getting really involved and now we're going to bring something legal against your company.
Okay, well, you can talk to them about that.
And to be clear, like I have friends that are pilots, people I went to university with, obviously as well, and then even have like their civilian pilot's license, including my ex's cousin. Anyway, all of that stuff. There are amazing pilots. The ones that are poisoning us, though, you guys fucking suck, right? And she's being so peaceful. And I think that's the way to go ahead and expose this stuff, these pilots that are actually committing these crimes, right? Because I'm saying, like, it doesn't matter who's telling you to do this. Like, you're actually harming people. You're actually harming the soil, the water supply. Like I just can't believe they're just, and again, just so blissfully ignorant and just so, I don't know, it's hard to explain, like just not caring at all what you're doing, right? And again, I'm making a comparison. This is not to say it's the same thing at all, but it's to give a comparison. But look what was going on in Europe during World War I and World War II, and even especially within the last 12 months of World War II. But there were people that were law enforcement types that were committing atrocities, crimes against humanity. This is very clear. This is very cut and dry. I'm not a Holocaust denier at all. I question the amount being 6 million, but also, but even on like when we look at the memorials, the monuments and stuff like that, and we add up the numbers, it's not out of being discriminatory. It's based on looking at the stats and the numbers, and then looking where the majority of the crimes against humanity were being committed. These were in primarily socialist countries like Poland, Austria, Hungary, Ukraine, those countries, and less so in Germany for various different reasons too. But there are also people that were transporting people to camps where they knew that there was a likelihood of them getting sick and dying, being malnourished. Again, with things like typhoid and syphilis and all these other illnesses that were also, again, being spread, and then also with malnourishment and how they were living, caused a lot of deaths as well. And like that's also suffering, right? So even though it's not in the gas chambers, it's still like, what's your point? It's still fucking horrific. And just like, oh my God. So anyway, so like looking at those numbers as well, obviously, yeah, it's a lot. And but people that were just following orders, knowingly harming people, I just this is what I'm talking about, morals and ethics. Like this guy needs to be terminated, investigated, jailed. He could be the nicest guy in the world. He's still clearly harming people, right? Like, and it sounds more like a sociopath or a psychopath than a healthy human being.
I know, but I want you to know though,
Sorry
like
for my
we are
rant.
real people underneath what you're doing. You spray right over our houses. We hear you. We know you. We see you. We're watching your planes and your patterns. Okay.
Yeah,
Twice
I get
today
that.
now. You did 2 flights, 2
Yeah,
3-hour flights.
It's public knowledge, yeah.
It's not really though. That's the problem. So you have not properly notified our board of supervisors about this. Hi, are you the other pilot?
Yes.
Hi. What's your name?
Khaled.
Khaled?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
hi.
not-
Hi.
It's not we have people at home base that you can talk to about that stuff.
But they've not called back. So now we're getting to the point where we're getting our supervisors involved. So the supervisors of our county needs to be notified. They've not been notified. You've been doing this for 30 years. I know it's a long time. You guys are like, it's cool, it's easy. We're talking about all of the metals and the flares that you're using. So aluminum and zinc propel the silver iodide. You're spraying right over us all the time. And our plant life is suffering. They are now selling aluminum genetically modified seeds to grow food because our soil is so contaminated. Okay, so what you're spraying is not good for the environment and it's not good for the people because there's an early onset dementia.
He's not even denying it, which means he knows, right? If this was something that I was just becoming aware of, like that I was harming people, that I'm harming the soil, that I'm harming, I'd be like, oh my God, it would be shocking. I think for any normal human being, that would be shocking. Like, holy shit, what? You know what I like? And so it's just weird to me. I'm not. I just think he already knows that he's doing
There's
it.
Alzheimer's,
Clearly.
things are starting to happen to
Alzheimer's.
people's health.
People's health.
And I really do believe there's a linkage to what we're breathing in the environment every day. When you guys spray us in November through April, it's your yearly contract. I'm aware of that too. So I just wanted to meet the pilots and say, you know, where's Jody? I've called Jody, I've talked, I think Leslie was the other one, Leslie Fisher? No, it's another Fisher.
Yeah,
Lisa?
probably his wife.
Okay,
But,
yeah.
Yes.
yeah, no, that's,
Husband and wife.
that's their
Double the income.
responsibility. That's not our
I
responsibility.
understand, yeah. But the money that you're receiving to do this is coming from, is it taxpayers that are paying for this?
That's not my department.
Either way,
I want you to
it's
be
still
aware.
growing. Better
Do you
be
have family?
interested if government's funding it.
Yeah, I have family.
I have family too, I have
Yeah.
children. So we're outside and we hear your plane over us all the time.
So that's what he sounds like over my area. The cloud seeder. He's out there now peppering us with heavy metals. I just got home and he's been out there for 2 hours, 45 minutes, maybe 3 hours. So right now, it's safe to say you are breathing in heavy metals. 904 DK. That's who that is. Weather Modification International.
And I've been tracking this for a long time, and we have tried to get the supervisors involved, and they're clueless. They were not informed. According to the California codes and law, they should have notified our supervisors because you're doing this to benefit TID, okay?
Mhm.
But it's not. It's happening over, well, it might be, but it's happening over our area, okay? Sonora, Groveland, Coulterville. You're doing your little figure eight loops. My 20 rain samples will show you that on the days that you're spraying or releasing your flares, we have copious amounts of aluminum, magnesium. There's been some barium, strontium, but titanium's weird. Is titanium also in your flares? Okay, that's unique for me. So I want you to know that there are health
think you'd be
impacts,
toxic at high
impacts to
doses too.
soil and the plant life and all of those things. And when you do this, my whole community is watching. We don't know what to do.
Yeah, I understand your opinion.
It's not an opinion though.
So
I will show you my samples.
I
I'd love to.
I don't want to see your samples.
Why
You
is
can-
that?
You can take those to my
But you're
company.
flying the plane. But then how do I get in touch with Joey so he calls me back? I've left messages. We've tried reaching him multiple times. How do I get in touch with him?
You know how this
call them
stops?
again,
You
or
don't
have a
fly the
card I
planes.
can use?
You stop. I don't have this card. No, you.
So I want you to know
you
I
stop
drove all
by
this
here.
way because I saw you flying for the second time tonight. So you flew twice tonight. I've listened to you now twice over my own house.
Mhm.
And it impacts all of us. And early onset dementia and Alzheimer's for
Yeah,
people in their
probably
30s
from-
and 40s.
Probably from all the food that people eat too.
That's
so-
true, but
Oh
now
my
I eat
God.
very clean and organic. So
Probably from all the food that people eat. I just like this guy has like no care or concern for the fact that he's poisoning the soil where people would be having healthier food grown.
now if we're breathing in
Not all heavy
aluminum,
metals in them either.
you know, because aluminum and
toxins.
zinc, again, propel the silver iodide. It's not just silver iodide.
It's the zinc.
It's the propellants within the flares.
Mhm.
And then there's other chemicals within the flares that cause problems too. I want you just to think about that. Every time you go up there, you are contributing to the pollution of the environment. I know the goal is
Did you
to bring-
drive here today?
Yes, we did.
You're contributing to the pollution in the environment as
Oh
No,
well?
but I want
God.
you to know that.
No, there's
Yeah.
not. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. You can take your concerns.
Are you the chief
to
pilot?
my? No, I'm not the chief pilot.
What is your name again?
It doesn't matter.
It
what
does
my-
matter.
No, it doesn't.
I'd like to know.
No,
No.
it doesn't, because
It-
you're
it
going to go try
matters.
to, you're going to go try to smear that all over the place.
No, but I want to know, like,
No,
if
it's-
you- are you
that's
chief
none of your-
pilot?
It's none of your business.
It is my business because you're over my head dumping shit over our families
We're
and
not
our
doing
house.
And if it's government funded, absolutely her business.
Anything illegal, so.
But the fact that you are poisoning her environment, also her business. Lawyer up.
It's not illegal yet. But now we haven't had air district hearing boards for years now, and people have not been paying attention, but people are starting to pay attention because they do care about their health and the health of our food and the health of our population. I want you to know that you, whether you know it or not or want to admit it or not, are contributing to dumping heavy metals on our soils and in our air. We're breathing it, we're drinking it, we're eating it.
Okay,
It matters to me.
I understand that.
Okay.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying
It does matter.
I'm not the one for you to bring these concerns to. Go talk to the bosses at my
How,
company.
what's their
What a
number?
coward.
What is their contact information?
It's all on the internet.
I have called them before. So how can I say
You
I
should be going
spoke
to
to
his
the
bosses
chief
and
pilot or
refusing.
the captain?
Well, you give me your information
Okay,
and I'll get a hold of them and I will tell them that you're trying to contact them and they
Okay.
can call you back.
let them know I've called before. My name is Catherine. Okay, I've left messages before. I will also send another email to the company at large. They need to respond.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I've been having ongoing conversations with CARB, the California Air and Resources Board. Unfortunately, the person I'm speaking with has retired, so it's a kind of a disaster. So I'm at the point now where you were out all day today, you came back again for a second round, and I'm saying, I've had enough. We've had flooding, we've had mess, it's a disaster, and I don't like the metals that are in my rain samples, and I'll be happy to share them with you. I'm sincere when I say it's concerning to see the amounts of metals that are in my rain samples, okay?
All right.
I come here just to say
Yeah,
this to
yeah,
you. It matters to me. I'm a mother, okay?
Yeah,
I care.
I understand that.
Thank
Okay.
you. Okay. Thank you. Did you hear what I had to say?
Yes, I did.
It's sincere. Every time you go up there, we are watching, and it's heartbreaking and it's distressing, and I don't know how to get a hold of Jody Fisher.
Okay.
So I want you both to say, Jody, you got to address this. And you have to talk to the
Yeah, you
people
want
at
to,
TID as well.
leave your information? So that
I'd be
I
happy
can
to. Do you have a
pass
piece of
it
paper
forward
I
to
can
you?
use? Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right. Again, I appreciate it. I hope you hear me.
Yeah, I understand your opinion.
It's like 5,000 micrograms of aluminum. Like the difference between after you spray and when it just rains after, I've tested when it's raining the first fall, an hour later, I put my own money into this. I have a child that has neurological issues. I care about everything that we put into our bodies.
I understand that.
Okay.
You're also misinformed this a little bit too. So-
Okay, well, tell me how.
Well, for
I
one,
would love to talk with you about this, really talk to you about this.
For one thing, we're not making it rain.
Well, you're adding to natural weather patterns that are coming in. You're going to enhance it, right? But the flares are still, how many BBs?
We're not making it rain, period.
Okay, so what are you doing then?
You make it snow
Okay,
over top of the
but
mountains.
you've done this over us though. So Groveland, Coulterville, Sonora, right? And then the air is moving a certain direction. I get it, but it's like landing on us. And then it's going to snow, and then the snowpack benefits Turlock and Modesto Irrigation District, but you're spraying us, right? I went and met a pilot who was spraying adulticides to kill mosquitoes. Okay, so I mean we're being sprayed with adulticides and nerve agents that they used in World War I, and I'm saying, hello, we're being sprayed with nerve agents. What the hell is going on? Under the guise of public health, it's bullshit. I'm sick of it. So I've come out here tonight when I'd rather be sleeping. And because I wanted to just find out, do the pilots know? Have you been doing this for a while?
Yeah.
Long time. It's been 30 years I found out this whole thing.
Yeah.
It really stinks. I
It's been
know.
going on for a long time.
Why don't we let the Natural Pineapple Express just do its job?
There's a lot of research that goes into it for sure,
I know.
from both sides, right?
Yeah.
So,
What do you think? I mean, why don't we just let nature do what it's going to do? And if people are going to fuck it up because of their emissions from their use or whatever they're doing, why don't we just let that happen and let it be what it is? I mean,
yeah, well,
I don't want to breathe in. I can't go outside when I know you're spraying. I'm like, I don't want to breathe that crap in.
Yeah.
It's coming down. It comes down faster than other stuff. So, I came to the country to grow my own food and to raise chickens and to get away from all the bullshit of the city. And now I can't escape it. I hear you. It's like I hear the plane. I know it's you. And it was 522 JP. It was 304 EA, I think. It was like all these different aircraft coming from North Dakota. I've been watching this forever. And I don't know how to reach anyone. No one's listening. No one really seems to care. I really care. So I had to just come and say that to the people that are actually out there doing it. So when you're up there, just know that someone's down there looking up going, what's going on?
yeah, I know. I don't ever think that there's not people watching this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is. I'll pass your information on.
Thank you very much. All right. Have a good night.
All right.
All right, let me show you her Substack, and I'll give you the link in the description. I won't read the entire thing because it's quite long, so you can click on the link and read it for yourself and go subscribe to her Substack. So she's been tracking cloud seeding flights, taking rain samples, over 20. Here is all her evidence. And she submitted several Public Record Act requests and engaging with Air Pollution Control District and CARB, which is California Air and Resources Board. She will share her previous effort below. Nothing has been done to address her concerns about the heavy metals in her rain after days of seeding. we're breathing, drinking, and eating these heavy metals, she says. Silver iodide is not the only metal that is released during cloud seeding operations. That's the most important part of exposing this, because that is what our governments are saying, and they're lying their asses off. Did you hear at the end that he is basically admitting all of it? He did not deny all the chemicals that are in there. They know the chemicals they're dumping. The flares require aluminum and zinc for combustion and more. Here is all the things that are listed: ammonium perchlorate, zinc powder, aluminum powder, reactive metals, silver iodide, copper iodide, and ammonium iodide. And she's saying that these are not listed on the HSIS, but it's what she's finding, and he didn't deny it. Aluminum oxide, aluminum chloride, zinc oxide, zinc chloride, nitrogen, and water. There's the analytical report she's got here. This woman's a hero.
Yep, I agree with that.
And she just talks about how she keeps hearing the buzzing of these guys. She checked the flight radar. Very smart woman. She heard it again around 10 p.m. And then she just shows the video. Oh, actually, her friend, who was her wingman from that evening, she was actually videoing behind the locked doors. She says, "Thank you, dear friend." So here is the proof that she's having this conversation with this gentleman. That's not a fake audio. I would never, ever do a show if I thought it was a fake audio. It was very evident to me it was real because of her Substack and everything she's been doing. There you go. You can see them having the conversation. You can see this guy dressed sort of in the proper uniform for these guys. There's two of them, it turns out. She's hoping that the consciousness of these pilots makes them do the right thing. Doubtful.
2007.
And there's a Jody Fisher was promoted to Director of Flight Operations for Weather Modification International. There he is. They know exactly what's in there, and they've been denying it, and they can't deny it anymore because she's got all the chemicals there. And like I said, he did not deny all of the chemicals she found. She's got information here about cloud seeding and train derailment. And can modifying the weather cause damage to your property? Let's take a look at her investigation into one situation that happened this year in her neck of the woods. I'll let you guys read that full story. She's got symptoms of metal fume fever. Read her full story. She's got a previous effort to expose the decades-old cloud seeding operations over Tulum County in the States. This woman is worth a follow. Please get this out there. Please share it to all the podcasters that you know. Everyone should be covering this. They've got it right here. Look at this invoice, Weather Modification International. This is in Fargo, ND, USA. Turlock Irrigation District. Purchase agreement, aircraft seeding operations, $47,000. Fuel, flight time, seeding operation and material costs. Mobilization, $81,707. That's an invoice. I mean, you guys know this is real, but this woman's showing the proof. That's what we need for all of the dum-dums out there that actually believe this is a conspiracy theory. Please share this audio show. So important. Quick message from my sponsor. I will see you guys next time. Why should all of us be eating raw bitter apricot seeds?
People do say that there are allegedly cancer fighting properties in it. All right. Project Bluebeam. I'm considering, there's two videos I want to share. One is significantly shorter than the other. And I did miss a call from an unknown number. So there's a voicemail. I do need to listen to that. And Jim and Mall today, but Project Bluebeam.
You've worked the same job for 7 years. You didn't choose it, but they say it's important and you're well suited for it. Everyone's occupation is assigned based on ability. To run society any other way would be chaotic, the way life was before the event. The event was the day everyone on Earth became a single society. You don't remember life before. Nobody does. The media reminds you of overpopulation, pollution, illness, and endless wars for resources. The world was fractured into different states with different cultures, religions, and leaders. It must have been awful. These stories made you glad your memories were erased. The event saved humanity. Cities are calm and efficient. No borders, no conflicts. One global society, provided for and secure. Everything just works. But sometimes a memory will flash through your mind. Riots, violence, destruction, tension, anxiety. You push it away. Why think about the past when life is so much better now? But some people can't let go. The event deniers. Bitter malcontents spreading disinformation that life was somehow better before. It's deplorable. Thankfully, these troublemakers who cling to the past disappear as soon as they're identified. Once all the event deniers are gone, we could finally be rid of that conspiracy theory. Shadow governments, secret technology, UFOs and aliens. Everyone knows none of that is real. No sane person believes the event was anything but a gift. And it definitely wasn't some conspiracy called Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, human, here you are. I need your help. Something's happening.
Stranger than a talking goldfish?
No, you idiot. Will you listen? It started at breakfast this morning. I was browsing the web, having a bowl of Mariner's Choice.
Well, you know that stuff is way overpriced, right?
Excuse me. Mariner's Choice is organic, non-GMO, and honest anal.
Artisanal.
What I say? Anyway, I'm scrolling through and getting ads for camel toe polish and beaver lotion. And then I got one for a Crab Cat home defense kit. If Agatha Christie's novel.
I know who he...
All right. I'm going to go on to the other one. It's just cute, though.
There's a lot of talk of it recently. Like I said, I don't like to be that guy. It was like, I predicted that shit. It's like I watch historical events and I see patterns and I say them, and then years later they manage to manifest. I'm not a genius. It's not me. It's the material. Like the shit repeats, right? And this Project Bluebeam has been on the cards for ages. I wanted to do it March 2020. We're doing it now, and I wanted to do it before the fucking thing actually happens in real life. I was like, quick, lads, let's get Project Bluebeam episode in the can before
the podcast.
Exactly, before they fucking they'll arrive outside the window here now, like green men, right?
Yeah.
So whoever wants to start, where did you first hear about this fake alien invasion as a conspiracy theory? Maybe Shane can go into it. Where did you hear about this?
Probably back when we used to chat shit before any of your podcasts kind of started. It probably would have been back then, and maybe it was Bill Cooper, someone like that. But it was one of the conspiracy theories I gave the least shit about, because it just sounded so stupid and unnecessary. I couldn't see why.
Who would benefit?
Be needed. Not even who would
Cui
benefit.
bono, as the lads in U2 would say.
Yeah, not even who would benefit, but surely there's a better way of getting the end result of it than something as kind of stupid and weird. And how's it going to work if you make a Jesus appear in the sky? Are people really not just going to go, all right, that's a fucking whatever, a hologram or whatever?
It's a fucking Verizon ad or some shit.
Yeah. Like, if you look at a lot of sorry, go on.
It's an old Elvis concert, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Tupac.
Elvis, Tupac, Jim Morrison, Jesus, why not?
UFOG. Yeah, that's the thing. Like hologram technology has come along in leaps and bounds, especially if you're at like fucking Lollapalooza, or what's it called? Habanero. What's that thing where all the bitches have their tits hanging out in the desert?
Oh,
California.
Burning Man.
Yeah.
Burning Man. Or no, what's the one in California?
Coachella.
Coachella, that's it. I knew it was like, it sounded
Which
like.
just means second bus in
sounded
Irish.
it sounded like botulism. That was you yesterday, man. Coachella. Running for the trains. So, yeah, the alien invasion thing to me felt a little bit like cui bono. Do you know? What is the use of it? How will they pull it off? And why do it now? That was in 2019. Like this whole season is going to have a lot of like Montauk projects and stuff. There's a lot of stuff coming together. Where Shane, you're going to be joining me later on for an episode on pyramids, and the mystery of therein. And this is also going to tie into this episode as well. So it's like this whole season is kind of like looking at that structure of the machinations of psychological control. Little did I know that fucking COVID was going to happen, and that people would start to really wake up and start really push back. This is not.
I just want to share something, because Weather Modification Incorporated is the company that Jody Fisher and that pilot worked with. And I was trying to look at the net worth. It is a private company, but then I was looking into Canadian cloud seeding market, key players and things like that. But Canadian cloud seeding market analysis, industry size, share, research reports, insights, COVID-19 impact statistics trends grown and forecast 2025 to 2034. So again, anyone that's saying that this is a conspiracy theory, like you're out of your mind. Market overview. The Canada cloud seeding market plays a crucial role with a focus on enhancing precipitation, managing water resources. Cloud seeding involves the introduction of various substances into clouds, like heavy metals and neurotoxins and adulticides and pesticides and things that are not good for us. But again, these corporations are profiting from doing this, and these private companies, shell companies and others, and just allow Mother Nature to do the job and manage our resources more appropriately instead of doing the opposite. So cloud seeding is weather modification technique designed to influence cloud properties and enhance precipitation. The process typically involves the introduction of substances such as silver iodide, potassium iodide, or liquid propane into clouds, and so many other things that were mentioned, heavy metals. So Canada cloud seeding market key players. Weather Modification Incorporated, or Inc., number 1 on the list. Alberta Hail Suppression Project, Weather Modification International, North American Weather Consultants, Aquila Air Traffic Management Services, Snowy Hydro Limited, Weather Tech Services Inc., Dynamic Isolation Systems, Ice Crystal Engineering, and Western Weather Consultants. Again, there's so many people within the market now. Water Resource Management, and again, we're not voting for this. Agricultural applications. Not doing that at all. Environmental impact, government initiatives. Government agencies and organizations play a key role in driving in driving cloud seeding programs. I went too fast here. So I want you to look at that. Government agencies and organizations play a key role in driving cloud seeding programs. Collaborative efforts involving meteorological departments, environmental agencies, and private entities contribute to the effective implementation of cloud seeding projects. Yeah, it's been very effective. It's working. It's not helping us. Scientific uncertainties. Still not proven. The cloud seeding market operates within the dynamic realm of meteorology. Just more of the same. Key players. Anyways, it goes on from there. But again, this is nothing that is not new, not fake, but is a conspiracy, because the government is knowingly spreading these toxins, these inflammatory molecules into our environment, and then also working with private companies to again as sort of like a way to distance yourself from the crimes. Just quite interesting. All right.
On the fucking coronavirus episode as well, by the way. Don't worry, we're not going to talk too much about it.
It's hard not to
exactly
mention it, but
just in context with this particular conspiracy theory, particularly, it's very prescient. So, like, who would know that 2 weeks to flatten the curve would turn into 18 months, would turn into mandatory vaccinations, lockdowns, people.
Okay, so the biggest thing I wanted to say as well, clients associated with us, KPMG, this is what I'm talking about with Canada and our involvement with cloud seeding and weather modification. Intel, Deloitte, Samsung, Oracle, Microsoft. These are major funders and sponsors, clients associated with them that are owned by, oh my God, I just can't even make this up, Ellison and Gates and oh my goodness.
They haven't, like yesterday, David Icke and the crew had 1 million people in Trafalgar Square, like all jumping up and down with no masks on, like crazy pushback. What would be the next thing to be able to smear control all over everybody's toast? It would be an alien invasion to come in and say, take your fucking vaccines from a hologram in the sky, right? People are warned about it online now. And Bill Cooper maybe said something about it, but you never really paid attention. Is that what it was?
Well, because like when Bill Cooper would say something about like Bohemian Grove, you'd kind of be like, yeah, I could believe that. Like there's something, like they do go there. We know that. We know they go into those woods. You've got the little bit of footage. You're like, yeah, it's definitely something weird. But when he mentioned like Bluebeam, you're kind of like, oh, where are you going there? Like his deep state stuff, you're like, wow, yeah, like it seems really tangible. And then when you mention Bluebeam, you nearly feel like he's, COINTELPRO or something.
Sorry, I keep on continuing on. Sometimes I do that, like when I get more interested in a topic, because KPMG stood out to me. So KPMG is a global organization of independent services firms providing audit, tax, and advisory services. So their legal arm, I'm assuming, their advisory arm. Is it publicly traded? No, it's not publicly traded. Privately held company. However, KPMG Consulting, a spin-off of KPMG, is publicly traded. Actuary assurance, financial advice, legal advice, tax advice, and consulting. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Publicly traded company that offers services, was the first big 5 consulting firms to go public. Full service audit and operated by Canadians with over 40 locations across Canada. Involved in cloud seeding. Navigating tariffs, develop a proactive trade strategy to mitigate risks in the force of trade disruption. It's a very interesting logo here with the Fibonacci spiral, the seashell, yeah, it's just very interesting. National tax. Future of government. Let's see what they have to say about this. Digital adoption. Oh, Jesus. Okay. The need for digital collaboration. Yep. That's why Oracle's involved as well. And WEF.
Nearly feel like he's trying to make conspiracy theorists sound crazy by throwing in the aliens. But now you're kind of like, well, they could probably do it. They could probably get away with that.
That nearly makes
last
sense
couple
now.
of years,
I think
people
they
give up their rights for a lot less.
They absolutely could do it. The technology is there.
Yeah, the technology's there.
The technology is there. So but you're dead right. Like to make it sound so ludicrous that this person will say, "I can't repeat this to anybody." They'll think I'm nuts. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've gone down that rabbit hole.
And in the 90s, when we'll go through all the specifics of it now, but like in the 90s when the egregious Serge Monast came out with this stuff, it was like the craziest shit anyone could come up with, because they couldn't even imagine a technology that would be able to function like that. It sounded like cocky pop, like proper out there Fox Mulder shit. Now in 2021, not so like the motivations and the who benefits from it now makes so much more sense, coupled with the potential technology to execute it. Like now is probably the most appropriate time for something like that to happen.
Yeah,
the world is kind of a bit fucked, and the control mechanism is not operating as they hoped that it would. Maybe not everywhere. In Australia, they're just like, get back in your fucking house. Don't talk to your neighbors in the supermarket, you fucking galah. Like, they're like, that's what your one said on the news, is like, if you're walking past your neighbors in the supermarket, please, like, resist from talking to them. I know you want to, you're lonely, but don't, because COVID.
Jesus.
She actually said that on the news, those identical words, but like saying, stay away from each other, do not talk to one another. In other words, like, be alone thoughts and don't communicate.
I said this to you yesterday. I was in work and somebody came up to me that I hadn't seen in a long time, and she was so happy to see me. You know, we were both masks on and all that, and she gives me a hug.
Yeah.
And she didn't think twice about it, and I was like, fair play to you, you know what I mean? Then she gave me another hug, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's not like you're licking the back of her neck or anything.
Think, you know, wow, so I'm overthinking a fucking hug from somebody I haven't seen in a while. That's ridiculous.
I invited a few people around to my house a couple of months back, and a couple of them were just new friends we knew through my wife's sister, and there's not that many like-minded people out there, so we just got them around for some drinks, you know, that kind of way. And at the end,
I'm doing it again. Alumni Talent Network, commitment to making our communities and planet better. Like they're heavily, like KPMG, I'm talking about heavily like into the DEI woke agenda, digital economy, digital ID, all of that stuff, digital surveillance. KPMG invested US 1.5 billion to focus on the environment, and again, Canadian here. So yeah, like closer to like 2.5 billion. Actually, maybe now 2 billion. I'm just kidding. The dollar has become devalued in Canada because of the tariffs and stuff like that. Anyway, social and governance ESG change agenda. So we've talked about the ESG and how they get funding for people to push this stuff. So there's a reinforced bias and a conflict of interest. Our KPMG social impact strategy is aligned with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. So you've got the ESG, check, the SDGs, check, WEF, check. Focusing, and then they did the cybersecurity companies, check. AI, advanced AI, bio-digital convergence, check. Fucking, oh my God. Focusing on our leadership strengths and skills to communities and issues that need them the most. Oh my God. Almost 2.5 billion to focus on ESG. That, like, it's just like, that's Canadian taxpayers' dollars because these people work with the Canadian government and private sector as well. But and how much the banks, the heads of the banking systems invest in these companies as well. Take a look at that.
End of the night, she hugged me like, thank you so much. It was like you had changed her whole life just by having them over for a couple of drinks, you know, that kind of way. Because like, it had just been robbed from her for like 15 months.
Something as normal as that.
Yeah.
The overuse of that word, but
it's so strange.
But we'll talk about that in the New Age religion section of the subconscious original sin, the self-questioning, the self-editing, the self-censorship, all of the manufacturing consent, as Noam Chomsky would call it, the elements of internal control. Like, you're feeling guilty for hugging somebody because you're being told to feel guilty, that you're doing something wrong, that you're harming others from your actions.
I was proud of her for just saying,
So this is why I think that this Project Bluebeam stuff, if they're maybe, you know, some of the parts of it are beaming into people's heads, messages and stuff, maybe a little bit overzealous. But on the realistic side, the propaganda machine is in full operation and is all engines go, you know.
Yeah, it actually makes you, when you look at the propaganda, and again, I don't want to keep going on about COVID, but when you look at how effective the propaganda has been, they probably don't actually need to try that hard with Bluebeam, you know, that kind of way. It's like, it's not, there's a lot of not very convincing stuff out there, like the mask and stuff that people are just going for.
Yeah.
And you're like, they just hang a tea towel on a fishing line, shine a fucking flashlight at it like a fucking Scooby-Doo villain, and people will just go, yeah, that'll do. Here's me rights. You know, it's just, I don't know. I just think it would be way easier than I ever thought to do it.
Yeah, people are really buying a lot of stuff that seems nonsensical to me. Like, obviously nonsensical, like, obviously, like, come here. No. We're not getting into it because I know people are probably jaded from listening to shit. But just like when you see something, you're like, nah. And then people who you thought were like smart people are like, that's an essential thing. Why are you not doing that? And you're like, oh no, I thought you weren't a fucking dope.
Yeah.
You know, like smart people. But it's not a matter of intelligence.
No, it's emotion.
It's fucking emotion, man. And they're manipulating the emotion. So this Bluebeam,
fear being that emotion, by the way.
part of it, but also
fear
like
and social
guilt,
responsibility.
social responsibility, social justice. Yeah.
And when you listen to my parents, like smart people, and they're saying crazy stuff because night after night they're getting the shit scared out of them by the 6 o'clock news. It really started to grind on me that this was this isn't right. They're terrified in their own shoes.
It worked on me for the first few weeks as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like fucking. It was when it ground on for a year and a half. I was like, oh, okay, fuck this, you know. But Um,
and it's still grinding on
Yeah.
every freaking day. You hear the talk show radio. So COVID. Oh, for fuck's
yeah, I
sake.
can't listen to the radio anymore. They've killed radio.
Yeah,
And people are
I remember
probably
stop-
switching off
stop
this
listening
podcast
to
because we're
talk
talking.
radio.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
not to cut you off, but I'm saying people are jaded about it because it's the same conversations that are happening. It's like, wash your hands, mind your neighbors, wear your mask, don't talk to anybody. And people are like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
But repetition is the easiest form of mind control. Do you know what I mean? It's the most simple and most effective.
Who was it? Well, it wasn't Von Braun, was it? Who was the one that said just keep repeating the lie over and over again? It was one of the Nazi
Hitler?
guys. it was one of the
Hitlers.
Propaganda Goebbels, right?
But as I always say,
it was.
repetition is the most effective form of mind control.
Repetition is the most effective form of mind control. Would you say repetition is?
Oh, I'd agree.
What do you think about repetition?
I love it.
You wouldn't say it for the crack, no? Had to fucking ruin the vibe. Shane Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Come here, before we go on, tell people where they can find you online if you want to indeed be found online.
Oh, I'm off.
You're gone?
scrapped
You're
everything.
fucking
Yeah, I'm sick. Yeah.
off grid?
Yeah. For
Good.
the same reason we've just been talking about turning off the radio.
Good.
I was just
All
like,
right.
"Ugh." Yeah, I'm gone.
And Emmett?
We'll be back at some point soon. That's
Totally
what I said
Wired?
Last episode, yeah, Totally Wired.
Ah, good stuff.
A few gigs coming up in August.
Cool.
So
Nice.
yes.
This will be coming out at that time. You're playing. I leave the links for your gigs. We're not going to mention them
Okay,
now
groovy.
because they'll be out of date.
Yeah.
But I leave whatever links in the description below, and we can check it out.
But yeah, we'll be back. Yeah. First
Back,
time I ever
baby.
heard about this, by the way, from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was from you.
Fuck off.
I swear to God.
Did we not? Did I not ask you how poor am I as a presenter? Right.
I
I
just
already
said
asked time to catch my nips, and I was just like, oh fuck. It's only fucking.
They held up a big sign for the news helicopters.
Yeah.
The sign said, "Bill, wag the dog for Monica," because the movie had just been released.
Yeah.
Around
But that's
that
what it
time.
was. It was.
Wow.
Do you know
And
what?
He was like, "I don't believe it. You're doing exactly what that movie said you were doing."
But it's
Bill,
pre-programming.
Wag the dog for Monica.
And this is an absolute perfect example. Thank you very much for Wag the Dog reference. Wag the Dog the afternoon. That's exactly. They were like, we need to pre-program the world to know that we're going to do this thing. So
Yeah.
when we do it and someone calls it out, everyone's just going to go, "No, man, that's just a movie."
Frog in the pot.
Like that's exactly the purpose of Hollywood. I feel like a lot of these things. We'll talk a bit later on about some of the movies that Project Bluebeam
I just keep thinking
announced
of Will
itself
Smith
as.
waking up and going outside and seeing
Yeah.
that thing floating over the city. Like,
Yeah, take
if
the
that happened tomorrow,
earthquake.
we'd probably go, cool.
Yeah. I remember like he's taking a piss at the thing and he's like shaking, and Made in Abyss was like pirated on a CD-ROM and given out to loads of people to try to make like stuff like Sliders. Remember Sliders?
I have
And I had-
barely you mentioned Sliders a
Yeah,
lot,
yeah.
and I
Love
remember
Sliders.
just the opening theme, and I
Yeah.
had no idea what went on that fucking show.
It was basically
so much. You were on
Time traveling,
a
wasn't it?
TV show with one of the actors.
Yeah, with John Rhys Davis. My boy, Mallory, and I got he was talking to me, and I was like, "Oh my God, John Rhys Davis, I love you so much, you're Professor Arturo."
Well, thank you very much.
And
Would
he
you
goes-
mind stop touching yourself?
He goes, "Well, my boy, I have a gift for you." And he took out this thing and he's digging through because he was about to go to Comic-Con in the UK, and he's digging through and he's like, "I have one of these left, and it is for you." And he gives me a fucking like a one of a kind like picture of Professor Arturo from the original Sliders like memorabilia stuff, and he signed it with a silver pen, and he's like, "To Gordon, farewell, farewell in your future, best." Farewell.
So like again, I'm just like going on in my head because of the research that I was doing, and just thinking about how Bill Gates owns Microsoft. Microsoft, they just bought that nuclear 3 Mile Island, which was a nuclear energy facility or island, and so he is going to be on the East Coast, but really at the border of Canada and the U.S. And he again, his company and Oracle, left and right, part of the same bird, are funding and clients of cloud seeding weather modification companies that are poisoning the air. Despite what people want to say about it, it is a fact. I've told you. I've shared the receipts. I've talked about fluoride. That's coming out to be true. So just do your own research. Don't just take it at face value, obviously, but more people need to peacefully be calling out, just like that lady was doing, Odessa, her X feed. But just to say, like, because I know that these people have been trying to do this for years. Even with me, with like all the shredding of the trees and taking over protected lands and heritage sites and national parks and wildlife preservation areas and showing like people actually poisoning Lake Miramichi, actually showing that, working with government and government enabled, right? And then people getting charged for exposing this, even when they're just, again, being peaceful. They're just live feed, sharing it to the world. And again, this is holding people accountable. But again, it's the opposite world, I guess. But even with me, like showing videos of certain destruction companies shredding trees, backing on homes, communities, explosions, like and then again, even targeting people if they were like doing videos and damaging our public roads, and then we were getting having to pay the bill for it, like for the repair, and again, heritage sites, national parks, wildlife preservation areas, like churches and architectural areas that should be like protected land is what I'm trying to say. And when they could be expounding outwards and, doing other jobs, right? I know so many people, even within my family, that are in construction and contractors, even my brother-in-law, and he's been doing it for decades. And he's like he does bridges. He's worked on the Olympic Stadium. He does things like that. Or like in rural areas, he builds homes. Like this is like, again, like it's amazing work. And it's like, again, I think more beneficial to us instead of being in these 15-minute smart cities or whatever you want to call it. Project Blue being staged and fake planned alien invasion. I've talked about this before. With how advanced we have become with holographs and projections and AI technologies and genetic editing and research and experiments and costumes and makeup and again, like showing more advanced technologies that are being utilized or have been known about for thousands of years. And these are companies like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin that are again what are enabling the psyops, right? Because like people think that there are aliens from like outer space, and they think that they're getting abducted, or they think that their friends or family are getting abducted because they're believing what they're saying. And again, I have personal accounts of people with my family that have said that, and it's hard not to believe them. But it's like even Raytheon has admitted to, even in the U.S., essentially kidnapping a couple, and they thought they were abducted by aliens, right? And so this is, I know how this sounds, but again, this is coming out more and more. Even Stephen Greer has admitted. I shared the receipts about that as well, and an expert on that stuff. And again, these are 100% human and AI enabled technologies, advanced technologies that are being utilized and exploiting and targeting humans. The crop circles, it's these high level government, like corporations working with government and private companies working with government that are doing it, torturing animals, killing animals. Yep, there's just a lot of it going on. And so like that's the stuff that I wish that Doge would expose even more. Like he needs to look into NASA. Unfortunately, like you're not going to Mars, Elon. Yeah, and look at actual close-ups of Mars, not using like a fisheye curved lens, the cymatics. But yeah, so with Trump's circle and contacts, it wouldn't surprise me if that by 2027 there would be some kind of a fake staged and planned alien contact, whether that be soft knock or a hard knock. I don't know. The jury's still out on that. It might be a little bit of both, or there might be people that are trying to manipulate people's religious ideologies, and it may be something where people see some kind of a prophet or angels, lights in the sky that have like audio and visual technologies being used. So if you hear crazy things or see crazy things in the sky, don't panic. You shouldn't be doing that anyways. Try to just assess the situation, find find safety, but don't do it in an unsafe way. Smooth is quick. And because again, like you never know if it's going to be projections or if it's going to be also like actual technologies from Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics and NASA and stuff like that that are going to be utilized against us. And that shouldn't surprise people. So just be aware of it, be cognizant. It might happen. And again, it's not a theory, because I've shared even presidents from the U.S. for decades that have planted the seeds. Orson Welles, War of the Worlds, planting seeds. Fake moon landings, planting seeds. Mars, planting seeds. Even with the Challenger explosions, when you're eliciting emotional response in people because of people perceiving tragedy in real life, like that, that also assists with shutting down like another narrative, right? Because like people are, like viscerally upset when you dare question the Challenger 1987 explosion. There were no astronauts on board that were killed. They are alive and well. Not all of them. One is dead. But the others are, at least up until the last time people have researched this and looked into it, are still alive. So this was a lie. A lot of them are using their same names or very similar. They haven't really done a lot to change their identity or mannerisms or even hide scars or dental work done. It's so very interesting. But it's because we didn't have access to the internet or information like we do in today's day and age. Which is why Fauci, too, he's very shocked that people are getting access to the real information, right? And able to call him out even on the streets. But yeah. So the more information, the better. And to come at this from a peaceful way. And just I've been doing what that lady was doing. It's like the emails, the calls to like the different departments and organizations, all levels of cabinet, the forestry department, like all of these different companies and the media I have contacted. I've shared that as well. And I've tried to get lawyers involved and again, like no one wants to touch it. And unfortunately, and or the ones that want to touch it are the ones where you have to pay a lot of money. And I just don't have that amount of money to go after like cloud seeding organizations and weather modification in Canada and like the post, like, it's a lot of money when you want to sue the government. And it's a very long process as well. And I'm already part of the Methylquin mass tort. And that's another story for another day. Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at a question. But anyway, I do need to go because I need to get my dogs out again. And gym, and then maybe the mall. I hate the fucking mall. I haven't been in years. And I just want to go to very specific places because I got gift cards from Christmas. And I've been putting it off. But I do need new clothes. And so anyway, on that note, I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.